Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first Cannes Podcast from AwardsWatch. It is the Friday before the Cannes Film Festival, and I will be there. I'll be leaving on Sunday, traveling hours and hours and hours, and getting there Monday night for the beginning on Tuesday. I have with me a very special guest, and that is my friend Aaron Locke. Hi, Aaron.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Totally. This is Aaron's first time here, and this is actually my first time even talking to Aaron, so I'm very excited about that. And this is going to be Aaron's first time at Cannes. This will be my third time, but we're going to talk a little bit about what we want to see, what we're expecting, and definitely how Cannes can kind of surprise your expectations.
Absolutely.
I'll reveal a little bit of that. Aaron, what's your thought and your feeling about kind of just getting ready and going for the first time?
Jeez, I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, my friends and I have now been planning this for at least a year, I think. And so there has just been so much anticipation. And, you anticipate it for so long without even knowing what you're going to see. And so that is just so fun. And as someone who has loved movies as long as I have, Cannes is this institution that you learn about when you're in high school, and you associate it with such grandeur and glamour, and the fact that I'm going to be there is kind of just so surreal.
It is, and it's I felt the same way when I went there. The first time, I was a film fan my whole life and had gone to other festivals, but this is the gold standard and certainly the most prestigious, and it's daunting. I will say that much, and it's overwhelming. The sensory overload is kind of incomparable. But in the most fun possible way. It's wild. I'm excited, to be able to talk to someone seeing it for the first time. And then once we're there, we'll be able to chat
Absolutely.
and see how crazy and daunting and how little sleep you're getting, and we can meet up at the Le Petit Majestic at midnight, and that's just kind of how things go.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's just before we started recording, I brought up the weather in Cannes right now, which I've been looking at on a daily basis because it's been changing day to day. And it is kind of weird there. It's like always low mid 70s, but there might be a little bit like spats of rain. But like 2 days ago was all like sunny on the schedule, and then yesterday and today it's like 10 days of rain. I'm like, no.
Oh man,
I can't do that.
How do I pack for that?
Exactly, because I already have all of my clothes together, and they are late spring, early summer, to say the least.
Rain boots are not going to fit in my suitcase.
No, same here. It's not. We're going to have to think about that. But like I said, if you just have like an umbrella, I think anything that you have is going to be fine because it's sort of brief. If you've ever been to anywhere like semi-tropical, like Hawaii or something, there's like these spats of like 5 minutes of rain, and then it's clears up. And it's kind of like that too. It's not too constant. At least the 2 times I've been there, that's how it's been. It rained both times I was there, but it was like for a little bit 2 days out of the 11, 14 days.
Yeah, I mean, I've done Sundance in a couple times, and that was just both times. It was just we got pounded by snow, and so you're in line. you're soaking wet from walking through the snow, and you're freezing. So I'm gonna say that a little rain won't hurt anybody.
I think you're absolutely right, and that's a great comparison of what you're willing to stand for to go to a movie. Because I've been to Sundance once, and it was fun. I loved it, but oh my god, I never have to see that much snow again ever.
Nope, definitely not.
It's really just debilitating. But I showed my the weather schedule to my husband, and he was like, "Are you seriously complaining? Are you complaining about weather when you're going to be at the Cannes Film Festival? Just shut up already." I'm like,
that's right.
Okay, point taken.
Exactly.
That made a lot of sense. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about what we want to see. Like we had mentioned before, it's a pretty prestigious festival. It is not like, Toronto and Telluride, where it's really crammed full of American films and very awards heavy stuff. And even though I'm AwardsWatch and this is what I do, it isn't the festival that we immediately look to and go, okay, here's the main Oscar contender for the year. We do get some of those some of the times, but not in the same way that we do with other festivals.
And how refreshing, so much of the year gets dominated by that conversation, and as exciting and fun as it is, I think that's part of the allure of Cannes, is this lineup of exciting movies that aren't American centric and are new for some of these audiences, and that's part of what makes it so special, I think.
It does, and just the sheer volume of being able to see what other countries are providing and other filmmakers is crucial. If your point of view as a moviegoer is completely limited to a very small scope, it's I guess that can be a fun thing if that's all you want to do, but I enjoy having the multiple perspective of things. I love seeing the influences that an American director can have on a foreign director and vice versa. I love seeing where very heavily political and war-torn countries and what they're doing with film and how they respond to what's happening in their country. That's always really fascinating. There's a movie called Rafiki, which is a Kenyan lesbian romance drama, which is just beyond just the idea. The audacity of it is incredible. It's already been shunned by the country.
Yeah, I saw that. Already, I couldn't believe that.
It is a fantastic example of art trying to break through the restraints of where they live. And that is one of my most looking forward to films. I hope that it can get exposure and distribution and as much as it can, because it looks amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's programmed right at the start of the festival, so it's getting huge headlines right now.
It is
getting banned in its country, and that is so exciting to me. And I think that speaks to the power of this festival, is that it does have that international appeal and acclaim and audience, and it can give movies like this that otherwise would not get seen and might not have a platform to be talked about and heard about. And so that's why I'm right there with you. I'm got it on the top of my list to see.
I'm looking to almost most of the films that are eligible for the Queer Palm. I'm hoping to get to, because on top of AwardsWatch, I'm a member of the Gallica, which is the LGBTQ entertainment critics, and so I'm almost beholden to try and experience as many of the LGBTQ related or adjacent films that there are, and there's a good amount.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm really intrigued by Knife and Heart.
Yep.
That really struck me as could be something really interesting. And the thing about Cannes movies is that they can really go either way. You never know. You could end up watching something that is just plain bad, right? But and that movie sounds like it, but it also sounds like something that could be so good. So I'm really really intrigued by that.
I am too. It's by its description sounds like, okay, this is describing a really terrible movie.
Yes.
But in the right hands, that's can make an absolute gem. So I'm with you on that. Yeah, between that and Sorry Angel are the two films in competition that are LGBTQ, and so I'm super excited about that. But also, like you said, there are stinkers here that are unmatched, really.
Yeah,
at any festival.
A great way to put it.
Which is, again, one of the really fantastic things about this festival is that it does have, this prestige to it. But at the same time, with that prestige and, those in charge of programming have sometimes an air that they cannot get past their own friendships and snobbery.
Yeah, that's right.
Like Sean Penn's The Last Face is probably the most recent and biggest.
Yeah, who could forget?
Oof, there hasn't been, I don't really think, as big a flop as that in the last couple of years.
Definitely not.
And so I think sometimes people are kind of looking to see what might be the the new one this year. I'm hearing some things, but
oh, really?
Yeah, surprisingly, actually. Yeah, I'm hearing some. I'll try and be as diplomatic as possible.
Right, of course.
But let's just say some very mixed things about the Everybody Knows.
I've heard that as well. And Farhadi was at 2 years he was there, right, with The Salesman, and that also, I think that received generally favorable but still rather mixed responses. So the placement of putting it as the festival opener will definitely set an interesting tone for the fest. And he's also one of the few familiar names on this list, so to speak, at least familiar on this side of the Atlantic. So I'm curious to see how that goes for him.
I am too, and it was a bit of a surprise as an opener. It's when you look at some of the things that have opened the festival, it's usually kind of where they decide to be a little frivolous.
Yes, exactly.
But also, too, because it's where a major Hollywood movie that's opening in May or maybe very early June can kick off and have a huge, party, on the Riviera. Like Mad Max and Robin Hood and like Great Gatsby, and they're like all these, big high-profile movies. So to have something like this was a bit of a surprise. A few months ago, Bradley Cooper's and Lady Gaga's A Star Is Born was supposed to open in May, like May 18th. And as soon as that date was announced, I was like, okay, we can lock in the Cannes opening night film.
Oh, I wish.
And it would have been, but then Warner Brothers decided, to push it to September and then October, and it's just they're more into the awards-friendly quality of it, which is fine, but it would have been
a great opener.
It would have been a pretty wicked red carpet.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So, I mean, we'll still have Penelope Cruz on the red carpet. So
that's right. Yeah, we can't complain.
Yeah, I will not complain about that. That's still going to be wonderful, and she'll be fantastic. But yeah, it was an interesting choice as an opener, and so we'll see how that goes. What else are you looking to catch? And
I mean,
why?
One of the big things on the list for me is Lee Chang-Dong's Burning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I am in love with both Poetry and Secret Sunshine. I think he makes some of the most heartbreaking, devastating, beautiful movies. And the premise of Burning, it is, a writer meets the boyfriend of a woman he knows, and the boyfriend confesses to being an arsonist. That is just so. That just jumped out at me and kind of grabbed me by the throat and was like, you have got to see this movie. Because knowing the way he portrays kind of the human experience and, kind of captures the intersection of trauma and, human relationships, I'm really jazzed about that one.
Yeah, that's. I think you perfectly encapsulated him. I'm also a huge fan, and so I'm very much looking forward to that. And every picture, every image that I've seen so far is only like solidifying.
Yeah, those teaser. They released those posters, and they were just so him, and I was sold.
Yeah. I was just like, I'm good. This is where I want to go. I'm obviously very much looking forward to BlacKklansman, because that is the intersection of me and what I do, because it is a potential awards contender. It's with a great studio with Focus Features. Although they have a huge, heavy summer, fall, and winter slate. And I don't think, anybody could go without wanting to anticipate a new Spike Lee movie. I don't know how you wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when was the last time he was at Cannes?
I don't know when the last time he was there, but I do remember some salty bitterness about Do the Right Thing not winning the Palm.
And that would have been a great winner, yeah.
Yes, it would have been.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, and Adam Driver is the lead in this movie. I think, is he the lead? I think that's going to be really...
No, he should be... Well, it's all going to depend, and obviously once we see it, we can have a little more knowledge, but John David Washington should be the lead.
Okay.
But again, this is entirely dependent on what Focus decides to push and how, because they do have so much to manage. But the weird bit of buzz that's coming out of this is actually Topher Grace as David Duke.
Oh, I've heard this. I mean, Topher Grace is kind of having a moment a little bit, right?
Yeah, he has 2 movies in competition.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
And it's like, when were you even in a movie last?
Yeah, when was the last time anyone thought about Topher Grace? I mean, I feel no offense to the guy, but he's not really, he's not someone you think of as a leading man by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's kind of wild. And, understandably so, he is supporting in both of the movies that he's in. But that's the buzz that has me really, really quite curious. That, and even though Spike Lee shot this down a little bit, there was, word that the movie had a lot more humor in it than people were expecting.
Interesting.
And he kind of then pumped the brakes on that and said, this is not a comedy. That's not how this is. And I think there might be a little bit of trying to get ahead of like what happened with Get Out, being referred to as a comedy, being put in comedy and Golden Globes and all that. And interestingly enough, this is produced by Jordan Peele and Monkey Paw.
Right.
And Jordan Peele was originally going to direct this.
No way. I didn't know that.
Yes, this just came out a couple of,
cool.
I think last week in the interview with them, and that was pretty great. But then Spike came aboard, and they were like, well, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, and that Spike has such a unique vision and voice as a filmmaker, and has for decades, and so it's really exciting to see him kind of the beginnings of what could be a really fascinating comeback, and I say comeback in that, you know, he'll be at the top of everyone's minds this year, I think, and
yes.
that could be really, really cool to see.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, he just got, you know, his honorary Oscar 2 years ago, which is very well deserved, and I hope that is, you know, was just a bit of a jumping off point, you know, for him to have this renaissance.
Right.
Because the type of filmmaker that he was in 1989 with Do the Right Thing, he was ahead of his time in how to talk and how to present race relations in film and coming from that perspective. Whereas now, it's very much on the forefront of conversation.
Absolutely.
So I'm really excited for this. We only have that one image
I know.
to go off of, because I'm like, all right, so what's the visual aesthetic going to be? Is it going to be, you know, grainy like Summer of Sam? Is it going to be saturated like Do the Right Thing? I mean, what is it going to be? And I'm just excited.
Yeah, and the mystery, and that is really, you know, the mystery around some of these movies just kind of amps up your anticipation for them, because you just it's very possible you're going to go into the theater and you really have no clue what to expect, and that just makes it so exciting.
Well, it is, because they haven't been seen yet. You might have been
Right.
teased, you know, trailers and images, but they have not been seen by the general public. So you don't have anything to go off of, and that's kind of great.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I was just thinking, actually, you know, we talked about Topher Grace having 2 movies in competition. Riley Keough has 2 movies there, you know, one in, one out of competition.
Yeah.
With, you know, The House That Jack Built and, what is it?
Under the Silver Lake.
Under the Silver Lake. So,
Yeah.
you know, those are really the kind of the big American movies that are going to be there. So it'll be very interesting to see how those play out.
Yeah, Under the Silver Lake, is the other Topher Grace movie that has Andrew Garfield, Tony nominee Andrew Garfield.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you mentioned. I'm happy for Riley Keough. It's really cool, and it's a good thing you mentioned House That Jack Built, because I think there is going to be a almost nauseating level of interest, fervor, and 3-hour lines for that movie.
And that is exactly why it's showing, because it'll cause a stir.
Yeah, and again, you know, because it hasn't been seen, we only can go by what we hear. The word that it is his most gruesome
is saying something.
Really is. It could be the movie that gets booed, or the movie that makes people throw up in their seats or run down the aisles, because all of those things have happened at the Cannes Film Festival. That's right. I would say that this has the potential to be that movie more than anything else.
I agree.
And that's only because Suspiria is not there.
I know. We won't bemoan that too much, but it is disappointing.
It is. And speaking of that, and A Star Is Born, they were both approached, and they both turned down the festival.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really blame Suspiria for not going. I mean, Luca did how long of a press tour for Call Me By Your Name just last year?
It feels like it would just finish yesterday.
Right. And so I'm sure the prospect of starting again, in May just didn't appeal to him very much. But, we'll never know the real reason, I guess.
No, but I can't imagine, being in the middle of all of the press for one movie while still trying to finish another and just having, the peace of mind to be able to do both. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm sure we can expect to see that in the fall.
Definitely. I will be wherever it goes.
I know. I know. But yes, okay, House That Jack Built. Which we're talking around the fact that this is Lars von Trier, the former persona non grata of the Cannes Film Festival.
Of course.
Although it was self-imposed.
And, we had to know he was coming back.
Yes.
I mean, it was too good of a story not to. And whether you agree or disagree with that, it's kind of undeniable.
Yes. I'm really, really curious, and I don't think it's really possible to talk about any movie or festival now without the context of things that have been happening in Hollywood in the last 6 to 8 months. And between that and Terry Gilliam's Man Who Killed Don Quixote, or Quixote, I wonder what the reception is going to be, one, with House That Jack Built, for what will clearly be a really vivid and graphic depiction of violence against women, and Don Quixote, which is coming off the heels of Terry Gilliam's comments that Me Too and the everything around Harvey Fierstein was mob rule and just very old white man type of dialogue. On an international level, it might not be as intense, the scrutiny, but I can imagine that the American film critics and journalists that are going to be there are not going to bring it up, especially during the press conferences.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a part of the conversation, and so it'll be very, very interesting to see how that plays out. And I don't want to say that's why they were put into out of competition, but I wonder if that played a part in the decision. But who's to say?
Yeah, definitely, because I don't know where Cate Blanchett would fall as a jury president with a movie like that. But again, they have not been seen, so it is not prejudging. It's just having
absolutely not.
The conversation that dialogue leading up to it is going to make an impact. It's going to make an impact on anything. But to me, those are the two biggest examples that are going to probably be faced with the most scrutiny.
Definitely.
Let's see. What else do we have? The Angel Diamantino.
I'm jazzed for the new Kore-eda Shoplifters.
Yes.
It sounds. I mean, I think Kore-eda's at his best when he does these sort of these family dramas, and this sounds like just right up his alley. I'm really excited about it.
I am too, and it's there. I mean, he has his family dramas can lean a little Spielbergian.
Yes,
in their sentimentality. But I have to say there is something super refreshing about that being in a movie from somebody like Kore-eda and not from, like a Spielberg or, somebody from the US. Although it's really kind of ironic. I think Spielberg wanted to do an American remake of, oh God, now I'm forgetting. It was oh my God.
Which Still Walking is the one I would guess he'd want.
No. It was from the 2013. I should have had this in my pocket before I even mentioned it. Kore-eda. There we go. Yeah, I think this was from 2013. Yeah, it wasn't Nobody Knows. Yeah, Like Father, Like Son.
Ah, yes, that
Yeah.
would be very Spielberg.
Yes, and it was funny because when we were watching it there, and I really did like the film a lot, but a lot of the comments were, wow, this is kind of like a Spielberg movie, and then Spielberg said that I want to remake this. I'm like, why do you need to?
Right.
It's already a Spielberg movie.
Exactly.
Let's be clear, I'm not like bagging on Spielberg or anything. He gave one of the greatest Palme d'Ors ever as jury president, so I will never
complain.
ever have a bad word to say about him, because I was there for that, and it was one of the greatest moments I have ever had in the theater. It was beyond. It was amazing.
That's so cool.
I know, it makes me a little nervous because I've only been twice.
Right.
But each time, my favorite movie of the festival won the Palme both times.
No way.
Yes, Uncle Boonmee in 2010, and then Blue is the Warmest Color in 2013.
Wow.
So I need to be really careful.
Yeah. Rub your magic ball or crystal ball.
Exactly. I'm like, what do I want to win? How about that, Eric? Let's see. What else? Well, I don't know. I know you and I are going to be attending the festival in different let's just say badges. You're doing the Marche de Film, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, which is not the same as a press badge.
Right.
And I am there as press, even though I am going to be yellow badge, so that's the lowest on the totem pole. But it doesn't have the same things that your badge does.
Right.
So I don't know if I have a whole bunch of advice I could give, but I guess the best thing I could say is make sure and get queued in line for somewhere really, really early.
Yeah. That's all I've heard, and the good news is I'm perpetually early to things. I mean, just ridiculously early. So I'm optimistic that I'm gonna meet with some luck at least.
I am too. I don't mind waiting in line. So
yeah, I mean that's part of. I think if you're a hardcore film nerd, you've waited in a lot of lines. Exactly.
And there's two great things you can do. Well, there's three great things you can do with your time while you're waiting in line. You can read. You can use that time to write, reviews from something that you saw earlier in the day or something. But one of the even more fun things is developing relationships with the people around you and
exactly
in line. Yeah. Because you can do that as intentional or sometimes accidental networking. You can have somebody that's like, my God, I have a ticket to this thing later tonight, but I can't go because it conflicts with this. Do you want it? And there you go. You can get invited to parties. There's all kinds of stuff. Are you aware of the American Pavilion?
Yes, I have. I have heard this.
Good. They do, I think, daily rates. Although, if you buy a big package earlier, it's cheaper, but I think that's expired already now. I would highly recommend it, especially for somebody younger like yourself. It's all run by volunteers. Well, you can pay, but there's also people that can do it through school and stuff like that. And they're all in their early 20s, mid 20s. It is a fantastic respite from the festival. They're super kind. There are panels there all the time. I saw Blue Valentine, and then after that, was
You're speaking my language.
Was a panel with Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams in a tiny tent the size of a living room.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's super accessible. it's a tent on the beach or on the water. And I could not recommend that higher. It's wonderful. Their panels are superb.
Good to know.
Yeah,
definitely.
So check that out. Let's see. I think that's probably the best and only advice. I don't think there's any great advice to give for going to Cannes other than like get in line early, because everything else is about, you know, people watching and enjoying your time. And
yeah, I'm looking forward to not, you know, I'm like taking time off from work. It's going to be like the longest vacation I've had since I, you know, graduated college. So it's going to be a great time.
There is one consistent and pretty fascinating image that is there every year. So for the gala screenings at night, the red carpet ones, it's black tie, and it's very strict. Men can only wear, you know, bow tie, black tuxedos. That's it. And gowns for women and heels, even though that's been
that was a bit of a
it's under fire, and it's kind of a little, I don't know, outdated. It is. I think if you're like a big star and you want to go barefoot or wear flats, you get a little more leeway than if you're just somebody that's, you know,
right,
has a ticket. But the really wild thing about the galas is that in front are hundreds of people dressed in their absolute black tie best, holding signs begging for tickets to get in, like right next to panhandlers, you know, begging for euros for something to eat. And you can like sit and stare at that image for like ever, because it is so fascinating. It's you, when you see it, you're just going to be like, oh my God. It's
sounds wild.
It's really, really wild. But yeah, that's even if you don't get to go to a gala, just go to the lines and the queues and watch the fervor and the craziness, because it's, oh my God. If you get somebody that has like some crazy stand, and of course, since Kristen Stewart is on the jury, there are going to be, you know, little Frenchy Kristen Stewart fans outside there just standing away.
I will stand right alongside them.
It's gonna be great. I am super excited for her as a jury member, because I think she could be president of the damn jury.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should talk a little bit about the jury, because it is exciting.
I think so too. That's a really good thing to talk about.
Yeah, I'm like, yes, you know, you've got Kate as the jury president, which is all kinds of incredible. But, you know, you've got Ava DuVernay on there, and like you said, Kristen Stewart and Denis Villeneuve, and you know, I can't pronounce his name, but he directed Loveless just last year.
Oh yes. Oh my God. Yeah. I just don't want to. I don't
even want to try. But yeah, and then you've got Lay Seydoux. I mean, this is a stacked jury.
It's an exciting jury. And you know, it almost is every year, and that's kind of just, right. I don't think that there is ever a better jury grouping than this festival year to year.
Right, exactly.
It is incredibly internationally diverse, and it's always super exciting. I love it.
I'm really excited. All the red carpets are just going to be the fashion. I mean, the fashion alone makes it worth it. You know, just to see these stars, kind of all standing next to each other, living legends, really. So. And
it's, I mean, every one of those women, Cate Blanchett, DuVernay, and Seydoux, and Kristen Stewart, and I'm not familiar with Ka-Jin, but every picture I've seen from her just telling me that she's going to also slay.
Yeah, she's burn it out, that's for sure.
But that's going to be a really really exciting group of women on the red carpet. Totally aside from their tremendous pedigrees.
Of course. They're gonna
kill it.
Yeah, that goes without saying. It's just fun to. I mean, it's just also fun. It's fun to imagine them all talking. That's something year to year, I always think, wow, imagine all of these people alone in a room talking about these movies.
Yes.
That's just kind of the nerd in me loves that.
Well, the two times that I've been, the seats that we had were directly across the aisle from the jury box.
Wow.
So we would be watching the screenings that they would be watching that morning. And that was like including when Nicole Kidman was a jury member with Christoph Waltz. And I won't tell them here, but I could tell you some stories next week.
We'll definitely have to do that.
Yeah, that'll be a kiki worth having because it was quite something. But yeah, it was funny. We were watching the movie, and I would end up spending like a good portion of time watching them watch a movie because it was informing me quite a bit
Absolutely.
on where they were. And if I'm trying to predict something and I'm trying to, figure out, that was the best way to do it. But it was pretty fascinating. But yeah, this is a group I think that's going to have some really exciting conversations. They've got a lot of great stories to choose from. I'm excited for this show.
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
am I.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think this is a really good place to just have a nice, quick little podcast here as we let people listen and anticipate us being there next week. Hopefully they anticipate us being there next week, and
I hope so.
And
I'm surely anticipating it enough for all of us.
And Aaron, please tell my listeners where they can find you.
Yeah, the best place to find me is right on the old twitter.com. My handle is Subsaharan, SUBSAHAARON.
I love that name.
Thanks.
That's a really great handle.
It's old. It's like a relic from my high school days, but I don't want to ever change it now.
No,
so.
It's too clever. I dig it.
Yeah.
And you can follow me if you don't already, and oh my goodness, I hope you are, at awards_watch. And there will also be my foreign correspondent, Mina Takla. So reviews will be coming from him and myself. Buzz will be coming from both of us. So we will be double teaming as much as we possibly can, giving content and maybe a little bit of shade, and we'll have to see how that turns out. So the next time you hear from either of us will be either at the festival or before or after. I think I'm going to try and sneak a podcast in the middle of the festival. So
Yeah, that would be great. We should definitely try to do that.
Well, I did just get a new mic and mic extension for my phone, so I think I can do it.
Nice.
I think it'll work.
Planning ahead.
Exactly. All right. Well, you can always find my coverage at awardswatch.com. And I think that's it. Thank you so much, Aaron, for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me, and safe travels.
And you too. And I will see you next week.
You bet. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.